Working in foster care is a challenge worth taking.
Prior to applying for this job, I actually had worked on our residential campus and just working with the kids there kind of opened my eyes to being interested to foster care. So I applied for the job, got it, and have loved it ever since.
I think it's always important to contribute back to the community that you live in, and there doesn't seem to be anything much more important than serving children and families in your area. Once we get the case, we sit down with children and families and we assess their strengths and needs. Anything that we determine to be a need, we have to provide a service for, and anything that is determined to be a strength is something that we try to utilize or access to be able to help that family in overcoming their barriers to reunification.
But all of that is done in collaboration with the family. So the family does have input in addition to the worker. The ultimate goal is always to get those kids reunited with their families. And sometimes it happens, and unfortunately sometimes it does not. There are many aspects to this job, and yes, this job can be difficult at times, heartbreaking at times, but also just extremely rewarding. And just being able to work with different kids and families of different ages and ethnicities and religions.
I also get to spend time with kids ages birth through 21, so that can be exciting and challenging. Different parents, attorneys, the court system, foster parents.
Being able to build relationships with the families that I work with and knowing that I am helping to empower them each and every day.
I really like the days that I can sit down with a foster parent and help them work through a challenge that they had been facing and maybe see it from a perspective that they hadn't before and offer potential solutions to that. And then when those become successfully implemented in their home and they see a difference from it, that can be fantastic. Success has to be measured in very different ways in this role. Some days you have to celebrate the small successes. A teenager that normally flies off the handle every time they're being told no finally sits down and counts to 10 the way that you've tried to teach them to. Some days it's big successes, like being able to safely return children back to their parents. Sometimes it's a child whose parental rights have been terminated getting adopted, when that was a long and difficult struggle.
Particular family that sticks out in my mind, it was a young mom. She had had 4 or 5 previous terminations. She had given birth and had worked a reunification plan. The case actually went on for almost 2 years, but I was able to successfully reunify this small child with the biological mom, and that case has been closed. And so, again, just seeing a mom who unfortunately had 5 previous terminations was able to overcome all those barriers and work a plan and was able to get her 6th child reunited with her.
There is no manual to working with humans in crisis. Every day is going to be different and everything is going to be different depending on who you're dealing with and what situation you're facing. So having that level of resiliency becomes important. It's also really good to know that there are going to be highs and lows, and to be able to hang on to those highs to get you through the lows. We have longevity here that a lot of people that work with humans in crisis don't have, and I think that can absolutely be attributed to the teamwork and moral support that we get from our coworkers here.
Everyone's door is always open, so it's whenever I have a question, if my supervisor isn't available, just knowing that I can go to any other supervisor and or any other coworker and just ask them that question and know that I'm not gonna get this face of like, oh, you're annoying me, or kind of leave me alone. That we don't get that here.
It can be a very difficult job. It's extremely challenging, but one of the many benefits of working at DA Blodgett St. John's is that we have a really intense community within our department and the agency entirely.
We plan different things outside of work. It's not always during work hours, but we'll get together, and plan just a gathering after work. We do cookouts during the summer and in the fall. We do retreats.
There's a level of understanding that you develop with other people who have been there and done that you just don't get in other roles. So you build that community and that support, and everybody stays as positive as we can and as supportive as we can with each other.
The agency is so supportive of self-care and taking care of its workers, and so being able to take vacation time and just having the support from my supervisor to do that has really been wonderful.
I mean, if you're gonna work in foster care, you definitely should do it at Blodgett St. John's, for sure.